see you, I see you. I see your higher self, your strength and your spirit. It shines like nothing else. You know it, just show it. Show me your inner wealth. I see you, ooh, I love you, ooh. I love your higher self. You show me yours, I'll show you mine. Unlock the door and step outside the limitations you designed. No longer holding you behind. Yeah, yeah. I see you, I see you. I see your higher self, your kindness, compassion. It shines like nothing else. You know it, just show it. Show me your inner wealth. I see you, ooh, I love you, ooh. I love your higher self. You show me yours, I'll show you mine. And lock the door and step outside the limitations you designed. No longer holding you behind. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I see you, I see you. I see your higher self, your beauty, your brilliance. It shines like nothing else. You know it, just show it. Show me your inner wealth. I see you, ooh, I see you, ooh, I see you, you and your higher self. I see you, ooh, I see you, ooh, I see you, ooh, I see you. Yes, I see you, Pat. Yes, I see you, I see you. Namaste.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, how are you doing this morning? Good, great, wonderful, fabulous. Yay. It's cloudy outside. I'm so happy. I love the overcast days. I don't know what it is, just makes me a little happy. So yeah, I think it reminds me of snuggling up with like a fireplace and maybe a good book or something like that. Just, I love that. I love fall, so it's probably because my birthday's in fall. I don't know. Is it just me, or is your favorite season the season where your birthday is? I don't know. Yes, no, sometimes? No, okay. You like the whole year? I like the whole year too, but there's just something about fall. Something about fall for me. It's interesting because there's, in paganism, which is an earth-based religion. It doesn't really, back in the day, they called, the Christians called people who were not Christians pagan. So it didn't matter what religion you were. If you weren't Christian, you'd be called pagan. That's how it was. But the truth is that paganism is an earth-based religion that studies the cycle of life and understands that there is a beginning, which is kind of the springtime, right? And then you have the summertime, the middle, and then you have the fall, which is the harvesting time, and then you have the winter, and that everything goes through these seasons of life. And so in this earth-based religion, there's an acknowledgement and an honoring of wherever we're at. So we may be in our lives in age-wise, you can kind of overlay that over age-wise, but you can also overlay it in other ways, like a new passion for life. You're in the springtime when you discover a new passion, and then maybe you get really good at it and you start honing your skills and talents in this passion, and then you reap the rewards and benefits of being really good at it. But it takes time, and then maybe you're done with it. And so it's an appreciation for how life is. And I think that's why I really enjoy fall, because it's kind of like, it's the time we've got the harvesting, we've got the ending, but it's so beautiful. There's something so beautiful about it. So I love our topic this week. It's called The Love That Lives Within. And we're talking about love as safety, because pretty much whenever you're safe, that's when the experience of love takes place. Or when you create love, you create safety for others as well. And the love needs to come within. I want to say come within, but it's not like it went anywhere. The fact is that each and every one of us has this deep indwelling spirit of love that is our nature. Now, maybe we recognize it, maybe we don't. Khalil Gibran says, your friend is your needs answered. He is your field which you sow with love and reap thanksgiving. And in the opposite end of the spectrum, the Science of Mind textbook says, humanity, I like to make it neutral, gender neutral, humanity will deliver itself from sickness and trouble in the exact proportion to its discovery of him or herself and his or her true relationship with the whole. It's saying both the same thing, but at opposite spectrums. And I wonder, I love Halloween too. I love wearing costumes. But I wonder what mask you're wearing this Halloween season. Are you wearing the self-centered mask? Are you wearing the mask of ignorance? The mask of anger? Or are you wearing the mask who's the bringer of spirit? It doesn't really matter if you're wearing a mask or not. People tend to see through that. People tend to see through who you really are, because your actions unmask you. It's truly your actions that create who you are. If you act first, then everything else follows. So if your actions were an illustration of who you are, maybe what kind of costume would it be? You know, what kind of costume would you be wearing if it was your actions that were your costume? I think about this because studies have shown that most people think that they're good people. Almost everybody in the world thinks they're a good person. Hitler thought he was a good person. He thought he was doing good work in the world. If you go to any prison and you interview people, they believe deep down that they are good people. And they are. But what is it that makes us in alignment, in integrity with being a good person? It's our actions. And if I say that I'm speaking or I'm living from love, how am I behaving in that way when I'm living from love? Now, it's really easy to do usually whenever you're hanging out with somebody you like a lot. It's really easy to do. But it's not so easy to do when you're hanging around with somebody who's a little irritating, a little annoying, or they have the opposite political views of you. Yeah. How do I behave in love? How do I behave in love? I've been really struggling with this because I have a family member who is at the opposite political spectrum, but that doesn't mean that I let my family member go because they're at the opposite of the political spectrum from me, that their beliefs are different from my beliefs. And I've been struggling, how do I approach this in a way that is coming from the source of love? How do I come from this in a way that is not accusatory or confrontational, but is curious? Because I think it's those conversations that we have with the people who are different than us that help us come together more. But those aren't the easy conversations to have. And how can we be doing those conversations in a way where I don't get triggered, right? I'm like, but I believe this. And I want so much for you to understand how I feel. Well, the way that I get people to understand how I feel is to listen to how they feel. And if I listen enough and start understanding where they're coming from, they may just open up and understand what I'm doing and where I'm coming from. But it's our actions that are indicators. There's two friends, they were out in a lake in a rowboat, and one took a small drill from their pocket. They began to drill a hole in the floor of the boat, just nonchalantly. And the other friend is like, are you crazy? What are you doing? Kind of freaking out. Like, you're going to make a hole in the bottom of the boat and we're going to sink. And the man with the drill replied, don't worry, I'm just drilling the hole under my own seat. Doesn't matter. But it does matter. All of our actions affect everybody else. Everybody affects everybody else. Now, whatever I'm doing is affecting you. And whatever you're doing is affecting me. So how can we come at this world and create a world that works for everyone? How can we come at a world and make a world with love? You see, you don't fool anybody if you make a mask of words like, I'm really trying to make this world work for everyone. But if you're not actually in action doing the things that are in alignment and integrity with that, then you're just drilling the hole in the boat. It's okay. I'm just taking care of, I'm just doing my own thing. It doesn't matter what's going on out there. I'm just doing me. But it does matter. It's your felt presence and your actions that speak the loudest. And I want to invite you to think about these words. So when my ex and I were in a non-ex stage, it was a little traumatic. It was very challenging. It's very challenging. I was triggered a lot. I was upset. I was in love. She was not in love. She was in love with somebody else. And I was just so mad. I was so angry. And I was mad at the world. I was mad at God. I was mad at everything. And David Bruner, he said, who do you want to be in this situation? Who do you want to be in this situation? Do you want to be the angry person that makes it hard for everybody? Because it feels good. I wanted to be that person, but I didn't want to be that person. I wanted to be the person that was of high integrity, who walked through the situation with grace. You see, we're all going to have these problems that come up in our life. We're going to have difficulties. We're going to have challenges. We're going to have conflicts. We're going to have fires and, floods. The question is, how are you going to be in those situations? How are you going to walk through that situation? Maybe somebody in your family passed away and everybody's kind of acting weird. How are you going to be in that situation? There was a woman who was in the hospital, and she was gently cleaning the infected sores of one of her friends. And they were festering. It was just terrible. And this person walks by and said, I wouldn't do that for $1 million. She looks at them and she said, neither would I. Because of love. It is our actions. Our actions speak louder than words. What would you do for love that you wouldn't do for pay? What are you willing to do for people in this room? What are you willing to do for your family or your friends or your coworkers? How can you be the person who is love? Eckhart Tolle says, to offer no resistance to life is to be in a state of grace, ease, and lightness. This state is then no longer dependent upon things being in a certain way, good or bad. Eckhart Tolle. That's great for him to say. But then life happens, right? Now, I really want to be in alignment with Eckhart Tolle. I really do. But sometimes I'm being loving and I notice that the other person isn't receiving my love like I want them to. Does that ever happen to you? I know. But I'm showing you my love. Well, that's why this book comes in great handy. I have loved this. I've loved this book about undefended love, and it really brings up those situations and what to do when that happens. You know, in the book, they have several different people who've contributed, and Dale says, you know, when here's the deal. It's like, I love you. You don't behave in the way that I want. And then all of a sudden I react, right? And then we can react. We can medicate, right? We can self-medicate somehow. People love to do that. Yeah. I'm uncomfortable. I loved you. You didn't respond the way I wanted. I don't know what to do. So now I'm going to self-medicate, right? Well, there's some tools that I have from this book that you can use. And the idea is, and this has been like, I see a practitioner too, by the way. I have a monthly prayer practitioner who I go to for spiritual counseling. And the thing she and I have been working with is feeling my feelings, because I don't want to feel my feelings. I don't want to feel my feelings. And I've noticed this. I used to, when I think maybe it was like, I don't know what happened, somewhere maybe 6, 7, somewhere in there, I decided that it was not cool to cry. And so I didn't cry because I was like tough and, you know, like I could handle myself. And then I was like that until I was 21 and I walked into a center for spiritual living. And then everybody was crying around me and I just like, I could not get there. I could not get to that place where I actually felt my feelings. And it took me a couple of years in classes and coming and it started unraveling within me. And I started crying and crying and crying. And I didn't like it at all. And I'm still working on that, but I'm much better. But the truth is that feeling my feelings is so uncomfortable. And the interesting thing is that's all you need to do is feel your feelings. There's like the healing that happens in our bodies happens from feeling our feelings, which is amazing. And I've really learned that over time. And I've really learned to allow that I don't know, both in positive and in difficult experiences, I have that bubbling up experience that happens. And I start feeling my feelings. And so one way, when you have disappointment, there's some ways that you can deal with just allowing those feelings to be without medicating, without eating, drinking, whatever else that might happen, is you can go on a walk and you can decide not to change what's happening inside, but just allow yourself to process it. A woman named Annie said that she focuses on her breathing and she takes some deep breaths. A man named Mark says that he holds himself and he places a hand on his heart and a hand on his belly, and he tells himself he's okay. Cheryl draws what her feelings look like. Now I love this. Next time I'm resisting my feelings, I'm going to do this. Trying to give them more space in her awareness so she could really expand and experience them. And a woman named Annette, she journals about the feelings. And instead of panicking or feeling sorry for herself, she just journals and tries to nail down what's going on in my body. How am I feeling this? What does the pain look like? What does the resistance look like? And that's it. That's all we have to do. So I want to encourage you to step into this idea of being a person who's willing to be courageous and acting in your love. And then loving yourself as people don't react the way you want them to. And there's this one third piece that I'd like to add on to this. I want to encourage you, and this is something that I'm starting to get on a deeper level. I want to encourage you to want things. To want things. And I find it really interesting because a lot of us, me included, like if I don't want anything, I won't get hurt. Right? If I don't put it out there, then I won't be disappointed if it happens or doesn't happen, right? But then you won't be experiencing it either. I love how that happens. Well, I want to encourage you. I want to encourage you. I encourage you. I encourage you to think about this week. Think about, what are you willing to step into? How are you willing to be? Are you willing to be the love? Are you willing to be a person who is in action, acting on behalf of love? And then are you willing to allow yourself to process whatever comes up? Because I truly think that the freedom that we're seeking is within each and every one of us. And so as I've been unlocking those doors to my own resistance or my own fears, or my own willingness to not or want to step out into courage, I've been realizing that I'm becoming more and more authentic with who I am. And I love that. I start loving myself more. So I encourage you to see, how can you start loving yourself more this week? And how can you start loving everybody else more this week? Are you willing to take that on as your weekly challenge?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Well, let's do it. And so it is. So it is, yeah. Let's pray. Whew. I'm so grateful to be in the space of love, to recognize and know that this is a community that the Infinite One birthed. It created 5 years and 2 months ago. It is its own energy, its own being. And I recognize and see in this energy, in this beingness, this desire to experience and express itself at a deeper and more authentic level. And as I recognize this truth, I know and claim that each and every person here surrenders those resistances to being their own authentic self. Because I know that in each and every person, the spark of the divine exists. That every single person is filled with this holy God stuff. And wherever we are on our journeys, whether we're in the springtime, in the autumn, or in the winter, wherever we are, that we are in the right and perfect place for our authentic selves to be experienced and expressed. And so I know and acknowledge exactly where I am is the right and perfect place, and exactly where each and every person is the right and perfect place. And I know and claim that courageous authenticity expresses itself this week in ways that are surprising and delightful, in ways that bring up that deep, abiding connection to the self. And so as I claim this truth for each and every one of us, I surrender to the Infinite One to carry me and take me upon this week. And let me know how cherished I truly am through my own love. And so I recognize this truth. I claim it for myself. I claim it for each and every person here. And I release this prayer into that infinite law of the mind, the fertile soil which grows these very words into reality. And for that I'm grateful. And so it is.
And
So it is.